defensive army. We saw a total of 3 probes being killed by Slam's attack, but the Lynx, they didn't do all that much besides wasting force field energy and killing 3 probes.
Well, it looks like he is going for that fast expansion, very similar to Creator, as you mentioned before, Grubby. Not a lot of sentries, so if our Zerg player actually goes for like a Roach Max really quick and goes for an attack, he'd be in good shape, but we see he's going for pathogen glands. He's kind of turtled up. He's lost some queens. Can't produce as much as he would like. So I don't see that actually happening. And that tells us that Top actually has a solid build order here for this matchup.
Yeah, it's going to work out pretty well. He has a lot of zealots. This is a concession he's making because he's teching so fast to Colossi. And he's going to get a pretty good Colossi timing if he wants to.
Oh, imagine if he had one more force field there. That would have been so nice.
Yeah.
But the Roaches do get away. And well,
nice for Slam getting away there. He's also working on his 4th hatchery. If we take a look at the work account, he's at 85 drones, a very, very healthy amount, and will be starting his Spire because he's spotted the Colossi already. Oh, I like that. He's getting his Spine Crawlers in time before taking to Hive, just to make sure he can be safe first.
Yeah, and you know what?
That's a good decision.
It is smart. It's really smart. We see that level 2 weapons, they're going to finish relatively soon. This build is really looking a lot like Creator's. I feel like, okay, yeah, he is continuing to chrono boost this +2, but when he moves out, I don't think it's going to be the same timing that we see with Creator a lot.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less crisp.
Yeah, it is less crisp. There's also more zealots as part of this army instead of stalkers. Creator does favor his Blink stalkers oh so much. These phoenixes are going to take out some roaches. And Top could potentially attack earlier because he started his Colossi so early, but it would be a smaller army by comparison. And it would be a little bit relying on catching the Zerg before he has too much already.
That's right.
I think there's a decent amount of investors already. I like what Slam is doing. A lot of Zergs should try to learn from this because it may not be the most exciting style where you can constantly hammer down your opponent's front door, but in fact, if you can survive first and try to get that ideal unit composition of Infestors and Broodlords before going too fast for Hive, get the Spines first, you can first be safe against that almost inevitable timing push that's going to come from Protoss, and then you get your Broodlords out.
Well, I mean, he is making so many spines here. It's actually quite insane.
It is.
It's a madness amount of spines, but I love the way that Slam is actually playing it. And I mean, I feel like, you know what, having Sen on his team has definitely benefited him because Sen is a player that has been playing this type of style, the turtle up with Infestors, for a year and a half or so. I mean, he's one of the first that has really been doing this. So it's truly benefiting because I don't know much about Slam, but look at this. Like, Top is not going to break him before Broods. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he walks out in the middle of the map with his Infestors and loses them. But, I mean, Infestors plus all those spines, and he's even getting his Neural Parasite already.
Oh,
so
very nice.
Yeah, I do love seeing someone get Neural Parasite pretty quickly. It can just be so helpful in some of these battles.
So if we take a look at the 4th base for for Slam, he doesn't actually intend to keep this base. He's just mining as much gas as he can before the eventual engagement happens, and will then fall back to a 3-base economy, which is kind of enough if you're both on 3-base and you just want to get the army out. He's getting as much gas as he can, but wants to defend in a very concentrated position. And that looks scary to attack into. And I'm not 100% sure if Top knows about it.
Well, Top, I mean, let's take a look. He knows about a bunch of spines. He knows about this base. Wait, hold on. We do have a little counterattack. Not going to do anything, though. But Top's attack, a little bit slow. He has a ton of supplies, so it looks like this is scary. But as you said, Grubby, I love the fact that he already knows he's going to lose this base.
Yep, there we go.
See, he has no inhibitions about leaving this behind. And we see a lot of times Zerg players like, oh, we were talking about it yesterday. Should this Zerg try to keep this 4th on Cloud Kingdom? No, he shouldn't. He should fall back. And that's exactly what we're seeing here from Slam. And even though he's way down in supply, again, this army should not be able to break this plus 11 Infestors. I mean, it should not be able to happen, and he's going to have those Broods out.
Yeah, the Phoenixes are now going to die to some nice, well-placed Fungals. The Corruptors are there just to shoot down War Prisms or Colossi. Look at all those Fungal growths, spinning everything in place. There's so much stuff here. This is an ill-advised attack by Top, most likely. 5 Broodlords will be out in just 1 second, and there's so many Spine Crawlers here.
There are indeed, and how many Stalkers does he even have left? Not that many, at only 11 right now, and there's just no way for him to break this. Now look, he has lost a huge chunk of his army. It looks like he should be able to keep 2 of his Colossi alive and get out of here, but basically everything else has died off. So that max 200 army that looked so scary, it was like 140 supply to 200. Now it's 118 against 170 with a sick composition. Slam has played this beautifully.
Yeah, very nice. Getting upgrades already, just defending. I mean, Top just did exactly what Slam wanted. It was game, set, and match.
And, I mean, now Slam is just attacking across the map. I don't know if I really like this that much, but it is doing damage because, well, he doesn't have any of his splash units anymore, so Infested Terrans plus Zerglings with 2/2 upgrades, doing a great job.
Wow, this was just a perfect game from Slam.
Yeah.
Is he going to use the Infested Terrans to shoot down the Nexus? Perhaps he could, but actually...
He's going to kill everything with them.
Yeah, he's just got enough stuff here. He's morphing in Broodlords right there in plain sight off top, who's getting a fleet beacon off of 68 supply.
Well, I mean, that's obviously not going to do anything. He's still upgrading +2 armor. I don't think that's going to be that helpful either, unfortunately.
No.
He's definitely dead at this point. I think he's just letting it actually soak in a little bit. And we should be seeing GG pretty quickly here. These Broodlords literally can't be killed by Protoss right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have to be honest. I'm completely impressed by Slam.
Yeah.
Like, theoretically, looking at this game, you know, I didn't pay as much attention to some of the things like the actual mechanics, the actual macro going on, but theoretically, this was just about perfect for what he was going for. It was really good execution-wise. He abandoned that 4th base so quickly that he saved all the drones, or all but 2 that were in gas. I can't complain at all about what I just saw from Slam. It was completely solid, and Top's builds, although they were reasonably crisp, they were not down to the level that you need to beat a Zerg of this level.
Yeah. And also there was an element missing whereby Top was adapting to what he was potentially seeing from his opponent. He had the Phoenixes, but he never really scouted out exactly what Slam's plan was. Had he noticed that amount of spines, don't
That's
you think
true. He only saw like
good?
5?
Yeah. 5 or 6 or so, right? Don't you think it might be good for the Protoss to get like a really quick 4th?
Oh, yeah.
If he sees that?
As soon as you see a ton of spines, and especially when you see the 4th is undefended, you attack the 4th while taking a 4th. And then it's 4 base against 3. He's going to have a better army, but you're going to have a better economy. And you try to play from there.
Yeah.
You can't dictate the game unless you have the unbelievably sharp timing that someone like Creator might have with that build.
Yeah. Yeah, and then suddenly the Protoss would have... He would start a Stargate straight away, he would start a 4th Nexus, he would kill the Zerg's 4th hatchery, and preferably earlier than the time he did.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be 200 supply, ready, 3 attack upgrades. He can just take it out immediately, because it was undefended. So every minute he let the Zerg have that was a bad moment for him. So suddenly the situation would be, Mothership is going to be out, there's going to be 4 base Protoss supply, he can even go up to something like 86 probes if he wants to, which is an insane amount, but you know that the Zerg isn't going to max out anytime soon when he makes roughly 30 or so spines.
No.
So this was smart play from Slam, which was partly adjusted to the fact that probably he knows Top is just going to do a 3-base timing, come what may.
Well, that's how Top raised up to being one of the top Chinese so quickly. This is like a little shortcut that a lot of pro gamers end up doing when a game gets more figured out. They get mechanically good, and then they copy build orders. And that's obviously what we're seeing here. This was a Creator build. It was a little bit off, a little bit tweaked, a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But this was basically like a Creator type build that he executed, and he did as well as he could. It wasn't quite as good as Creator, but also he didn't understand what he was seeing or what to be looking for to adjust it, which is fine. A player like this has a lot of potential for the future because they can learn and grow, and the understanding of the game, as we were talking about yesterday, that takes the longest.
Yeah.
That takes forever to actually get a real understanding, but you can become a top player and become good like this, as Top is, by just copying like this.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly like that. First, you do need to copy a bit. It's incredibly hard to try and engineer everything completely by yourself. So there is a good sense of copying. And then hopefully, at some point, you will wake up and you will actually understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And of course, a game like this is going to be a great experience because Top will realize that actually, in such a situation, a different approach is needed.
Yeah. And, you know, I want to see if maybe he can adjust to it now. But It's actually on Cloud Kingdom, and we saw him actually practicing some different builds on this map.
Yeah.
But he left a few of them in his match history. Do you think he was doing that to maybe throw Slam off, or do you think he was trying to figure out which one he feels like doing?
I think probably he's just trying different ones out, but he hasn't picked yet.
Yeah.
If he had picked already, he probably wouldn't have to try them out. It would be like super advanced, wouldn't it, to play the computer in the multiplayer and then show your match history on purpose, hoping that your opponent's going to check you out, and then you're going to use it and make the right decision about countering what you think your opponent's going to do.
Yeah, that's something I would try to do to you if I were to play you in a tournament, Grubby, to be honest.
It would probably work.
it may, but you have to choose the right person or you're screwing up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can give someone too much credit. All right, so Cloud Kingdom will be our next map, Slam against Top. Do you think we're going to see a similar style out of Slam this game? Because definitely you can play Cloud Kingdom just like he just played Ohana.
Well, what we saw from Top yesterday against the Zerg player, when he lost the first map, in the second one he decided to, I think it was an Immortal All-In. Definitely, if I lost a game like this, and I would say, man, my opponent knows pretty well how to survive to a Broodlord stage, and it would kind of depend how I feel about dealing with that. I might feel to taking the shortcut, taking like the easy route and going for something like an Immortal All-In if I have a good version of it. It's definitely something that I felt many times in the past. I'm not doing it as much anymore, but this could be something that Top might be considering, because basically, guys, he's down 0-1. If he loses one more map, he's out. That's the end of his tournament.
And conversely, if you feel like, well, Slam, I know this guy, I know his style, he's going to do something similar, you can cut even more edges, take your third even a little bit quicker, take your fourth really quickly as well, and you're going to be ahead in that way. But you have to be really comfortable with that late game, which I don't think is Top's area.
Yeah.
All right, so we are starting the game. Let's go ahead and jump into that. It is going to be game number 2 of Top against Slam. Up here in our top right, it is Slam from the Gamma Bears. And down here in the bottom left, it is from Team Phoenix, Top.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I am up in the production value of this stream.
Very nice. There's going to be a Reddit thread about this for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Check that zoom in.
All right. So, what will Top be going for here?
Remember, I hope it's not going to be another plain 13 Forge.
It is. I think it is going to be.
He's going home now?
That's what he did last time. Yeah, he did.
Did he go home?
Yeah, he went
the first
home,
round?
and then he went out and he scouted after the Forge.
Oh, okay.
Which was, I mean, in certain ways you get more economy, but I feel like if you're not going to scout here, you need to go for like a very early 17 Nexus into Forge scout.
Yeah.
But I guess that's up to him, man. That's something that happens a lot in people's own metagames, where if you don't pay attention to what everyone else is doing around the world, sometimes your build orders are not quite as efficient.
Yeah, that's actually true. I mean, there's a lot to be said for it too, though. In terms of mentality, sometimes when you're watching too many other people's games and you're trying to understand them, through understanding them, you kind of become them. And you start thinking like them, and suddenly you don't know who you are anymore.
You lose your identity.
Yeah.
There you go.
It happened to me, man.
Did it? Oh, that's interesting.
And then, like, I used to, in the early games of StarCraft, I would have my own style, and I would be practicing on ladder all the time, raising my skill, and then right before a big tournament, I would watch everyone's replays to try and study them. All the Protosses, the Zergs, the Terrans, and then suddenly I'd be a different guy. I would go to a tournament as, I don't know, Hero or Night End or a poor version of them probably. Because I'd be practicing my own style and then suddenly buying into someone else's. And that's risky. So Top very much into his own style, and there's something to be said for that, even if it is a little bit rough on the edges, because at least you're going to be comfortable.
And that's actually the most important thing, is to be comfortable with the way you're playing, which is an amateur pro gamer mistake that we see a lot is changing your build right before you go into the game. Which a lot of people won't admit to it, but I will go right ahead, man. I have done it plenty of times in my old pro gamer career where I would be there and I would just change my strategy, be like, no, this is a better idea. And it's something I don't have as practice. And I mean, that's something you have to be really, really careful about.
Yeah. And you know, guys, it all starts with that feeling where you say, I'm probably not good enough yet to take out this opponent, so now I suddenly need to do something else.